Welcome everybody back to my workshop here at Miller's Farm Shop. So today, my name is Colwin Way, by the way. Oh, I forgot to mention. And I'm here with Farmer Tom as well. It's been a long time since we've done the last one. It's been a couple of weeks. And I did mention last time that we are actually going to be now concentrating on trying to get them every fortnight. So 2 a month, these live streams, that's what we're aiming for anyway. Today's going to be, it's one of my favorite little demos. This isn't, I'm going to be doing this over the weekend. I've got 3 demos to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so we're going to make one of these on each of those days as well. It's a little salt or pepper grinder or chili flake grinder, really. So a nice little grinder, this one. This one's going to be using the Crushgrind mechanisms. So they're to be honest, they are my favorite mechanisms. They're ceramic mechanisms, easy to put together, which we're going to show you exactly how to as we go. We're also going to be using one of the Woodcut Milldrills as well. It's the only thing really that I use to make these with. I get a little bit fed up with having to own lots and lots of sawtooth bits. So I'll have one sawtooth bit, about 25 mil. And then this one cuts the other size holes. So it just makes the job a little bit easier for me. So yeah, we're going to look at that. I've got a couple of little gadgets and gizmos we're going to look at as well. And yeah, just have a little bit of fun with this one. So just to give you a bit of an update as to what we're doing, we just finished a smoker course, an intro course. I'm about to tomorrow set off up to Suffolk to go and visit Dis Woodturners. Then on Saturday, we're doing an all day at West Suffolk Woodturners as well. And then on Sunday, I'm going to see you, or whoever's going to be there, I'm going to see you at Surrey Woodturners for their open day. So lots going on. And then back here, we'll start in the workshop again on Tuesday. So yeah, lots to do, lots to do. I'm joined by Farmer Tom. I don't know whether I've mentioned that before, but Tom's here to ask me all of your questions. So use that chat facility and we're gonna do our best to answer everything that you have. Now I have got some more exciting news. At the moment we're still working with our usual 3-camera setup, but we have invested in another camera. I took a friend of mine's advice, Martin Sabin-Smith of Hampshire, and I followed him with one of his cameras or the cameras that he's just invested in as well. So we'll have that running in the next, I would have thought definitely by the next live stream. And then Tom will be able to control it even more and guide the cameras around, do a little bit of zooming with a remote. So there'll be a lot more to see, hopefully. At that point, we'll also do a little bit of a whiz around the workshop so you can see what facilities we've got here. It's smaller than you think, to be quite honest. Okay, all right, Tom. Let's get a hello from Tom.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, Edinator 2000 said he's just had an advert. I can't remember if we sorted out that advert thing. Did we?
I did turn that. So I turned it down a little bit. It looks like I've got to turn it down a bit more. Yeah, I will. I'll definitely do that because it is a pain in the bum.
Just let us know on the live ones because we don't really want them to show on the live ones.
No, exactly. Not at all. Cool. Right. So I've just sent it up basically with a marking gauge. All I'm going to then do is with my bradawl just dot the ends. Now I've got measurements that I've set for this particular mechanism. I'll give you the overall dimensions because I know that will be one of the first questions that we get. So let's just have a quick look. So I am working with 6.5 inches on the blank. So we're going to have a look in a minute as to where we cut that. So between centers first. So I'm going to make a matching pair for the one that I've already done there. What's up with my center? Let's get some light on it. There we are. Get between centers first, and then we can turn this down to a cylinder. That's the first job really on this one. Turn down to a cylinder, and then we can hold it in our chuck. I'm choosing to use the C jaws because I use those a lot for most things, and they will just about open up big enough to be able to hold this to drill. So that's the first job, down to a cylinder. And if you're into production turning, if you're making a few at a time, then obviously this is your first section. So I'm going to clean up both ends. So down with the roughing gouge first, then we're going to clean up the ends, and then I'll start thinking about cutting the lid off. So quite quick, to be honest, to start with. I'm up to about 1600. I'm going to rough down to a cylinder. down to a cylinder. I just want to make sure there's no flats left on that. And then we'll clean up. This is nice. This particular piece of Zebrano's got a lovely bit of sap running along it as well. So it's quite a nice piece of timber. Let's just clean up either end with a parting tool. Here we are. And then we're going to look at where I'm going to part this one too. So let's use the rule and then I can give you proper measurements there. So my body on this one, and just in case you weren't sure, the recess is in the body, okay, and the tenon is in the top, the cap. All right, so fairly simple on that one. Let's keep them apart just for the moment. We'll measure that. So I'm working with a body length of, so we are, to keep it simple, 4.5 inches. Nice and simple. Just pop that to one side for the minute before I drop it on the floor. So if I mark that with a pencil, that gives us somewhere then to part 2. There we go. And we're going to make a parting cut because, of course, we want these to join together nicely. There we are. Parting tool again. Couple of cuts. There we are, one cut, and then a little half cut beside it. There we are. Now, don't part all the way through. It'll bind up if you do that. So what we're going to do, just stop the lathe and we'll cut it in half with a little pull saw. How are we doing, Tom? Any questions at all?
Yeah, no real questions at the moment. But Chris has messaged to say, nice to meet you when you visited the farm shop whilst on holiday a few weeks ago. Oh. So that's always nice. And also, Martin's saying he's hoping to make the Surrey Association on Sunday, and he promises he's not stalking you.
Yeah, because that was last weekend at Dolman as well. We met up. And the weekend before that, I think, yes.
And Ward said he's just got an advert as well. So, yeah, we will look into that more. So, apologies on our part, but it's not intentional.
Definitely not.
So,
no.
And then Edinator 2000's got a question. He said, my live ring sensor, I think you're using one there, has started coming off the Morse taper when I remove it from the timber it's holding. Is there any maintenance I can do to solve this?
Not really. Every now and again, I've never experienced that. If I'm honest with you, I would suggest maybe just scuffing up a little bit, maybe some rolled up newspaper inside, just give it a clean on the inside of the Morse taper. But I've never really experienced that. I'm not quite sure why that's happened, if I'm honest, Ed. But yeah, maybe a scuffer. It might be just a case of it's gone a bit glazed. I think we mentioned last week about every now and again what I need to do, what I do on the tool rest, on that part of the tool rest there, is just give that a bit of a scuff with some fine abrasive just to keep it from slipping on the little locking lever, and also the locking lever itself, the end of that, they can get glazed after a while, so it's worth doing that, you know. It just helps. So now we're going to go and do our first bit of drilling. So like I said before, we're using a 25mm drill bit, and that just enables the mill drill then to have something to follow. It's a guide for it. So I've got the C-jaws in here, and I'll do the main body first. So the main body is the 25mm, but the actual top won't be. Now, it doesn't really matter which side you do first. What I will do, though, is clean this up. This was the parting tool cut side. So I'm just going to clean that up before we drill. So lathe on, small bowl gouge. go. I've already got the other side clean, but I'm going to make it a little bit cleaner in a minute as well once we start cutting. So a 1-inch hole down through, or 25mm hole down through. So we'll go with a drill chuck. And my well-used sawtooth bit. Remember, sawtooth bits for end grain and just cutting Forstner bits for side grain. Has to be a sawtooth bit, otherwise you get a huge amount of burning. It doesn't matter if you're not going in too far and it's a fairly small regular Forstner bit, but if you're going in deep like this, then you really do need to have a sawtooth bit because it's got to chisel that timber away. The other thing I would also warn you about is if you're going to do lots of these, you will need to maintain your quill here. So the quill, the way the quill works, I'm not in camera there. Go to the main camera then, Tom, maybe. The quill, so the bit that goes inside, the barrel that goes inside the tailstock, that's there's a little lead screw in there. So you've got a male and a female screw. And as they lock together, when you're putting a lot of thrust pressure on, it can start to wear them. So make sure that's lubricated fairly often. A bit of grease inside that lead screw will really, really help. Try not to have too much oil in there, otherwise that just leaks out. But a little bit of grease every now and again. So if you do a batch of these, just top it up with grease afterwards. And to do it on these, all I need to do is take the locking lever off here. The little Bristol locking lever off, and then there's a bolt that holds or locks in another little grub screw that needs to come undone. Unwind that all the way so the quill comes all the way out, and then you'll have the two sections. You can then put a little bit of grease in that thread on the inside. All right, it's just it'll just prolong the life of the tailstock if you're doing lots of them. I'm going to drill here about between 800 and 900 is enough for a sawtooth bit of that size. I don't want to go too much more than that. If you start to see smoke, it's time for your bit to be sharpened. And I'm going to cut in halfway. I'm not going to cut in one whole length here. A little bit of beeswax maybe if you start to get a lot of screeching, or even things like your regular polishing wax. You know, that will help. Make sure that swarf is clean regularly, because what happens with a sawtooth or Forstner bit, the shavings will build up behind the head, and so you might have your drill bit actually moving and free inside the hole, but you won't be able to pull it back out again because those shavings have expanded behind the head of the drill bit. So make sure you keep those clean. Keep clearing that swarf. There we are. That'll do on that side. Let's take that out. Swap that one over. Now that's clean. Swap them around. Back up again. Now we're going to go all the way through. Just keep clearing that swarf. There we are, all the way through now. But that didn't take long, that side. So out with all the muck. We can get rid of our drill bit. We'll get rid of that, otherwise I'm going to get my elbow on it. Even though it's not burning its way in, it's still developing quite a lot of heat there. So that can go to one side.
Just a couple of things, Cole. Edinator 2000, he actually meant the tailstock bearing center, I think, as in the head of the ring center is coming away from the Morse taper.
Oh,
no, you think you might need to replace it if the bearing starts to lose grip. It's probably the way I asked it, actually.
I have seen that happen before. And if it does happen, then yeah, it's time for a replacement, unfortunately, because they're pushed in under pressure. So it's supposed to be an interference fit, Ed. So if it starts to come out, then it's just slipping, and it'll happen every time otherwise. So yeah.
And Ronnie Jones from Georgia,
Hey.
once you know he's finished his carousel and it even works.
There we go. Ronnie. Hi, Ronnie. He's coming over in February to spend my birthday with me. So that'll be nice. Yeah, fantastic. Good to hear from you, Ronnie. And Ed, of course, all the way over in the Isle of Wight. So they're coming from Georgia, Isle of Wight, all over the place. Hampshire, Kent. Look what we have here. So this is the bit that, this was the center. And this was the other end. So what we're going to do first is, well, not first, we're going to drill the bottom with the mill drill. Okay, so I've got a nice shiny new one here, and I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to keep this one really clean for the weekend. I've set this one to 7 mil. 7 to 8 mil works, this top cutter. And this one is a clearance hole for the top, for the bottom section. And let me just show you what I've done here. So just to give you an idea where this is cutting. So what we have is we have the 2 cutters, one producing the bottom hole and one producing the top clearance hole. Okay, and both at the same time being guided by the central hole that we've just drilled. So it's a really efficient way of doing it. Then what I'll do is I'll flip the blank around so I can then drill that clearance hole for the to accept the tenon in the lid of the grinder. So quite an efficient way. So I'm going to keep my shiny one shiny. I'm going to use the one that's been battered. So here goes. Just before we actually do that, let me show you where the mechanism sits within that, of course. So once we've done this, the mechanism is going to sit inside our grinder that way. Okay, so all of those various positions have been made. What we're also going to add to this one is a little slot here. So the lugs of our mechanism, sorry, do that in camera again, a little slot just here. So these lugs here in the top can then catch so it can't pull out when you're pushing the lid on. Okay, we're going to do the same on the lid as well with these little lugs on the top. So we're hopefully got all bases covered.
Chuck's asked, Colin, would you mount the blank and do the drilling the same way for a taller mill?
Yeah, absolutely. So if, for instance, you might want to go to the wide shot for this one. Let's say we're doing something like this. So we're actually doing we're doing the small one at the moment. We're doing the dinky one here. But if we want to do the next size up or even medium size, then it has to be slightly more involved. You're going to start using the whole length of the Forstner bit or the sawtooth bit, but then extensions on those sawtooth bits as well. So this one's got a little extension which takes the 12 mil shank or 10 mil shank of your drill bits, and that's obviously then you double the length of that because you're coming from both sides, you see. So that works for those bigger ones. So yeah, absolutely, exactly the same. It's just more involved. You have to be more aware of heat. You have to be lubricating the cutter each time. Don't use candle wax because that's paraffin wax and that will stain. So that's why I say go with beeswax or even some of your polishing waxes. They tend to work better for it, and you won't get that stain afterwards either. All right. Okay. Now, the one warning I'm going to give you here, normally I say to everybody when they're drilling on the lathe is one hand on the chuck. Don't make that mistake and put one hand on the mill drill because it's got 2 horrible, vicious cutters here. And if it did twist for any reason, then your hand is going to be a lot softer than the cutters and come a cropper. Again, in terms of cutting speed, 700 to 900, really. Don't want to go too fast on this. So where are we? There we are. I'm 850, halfway between. And again, let me just grab some beeswax just in case. And I've got some lovely little blocks of beeswax here that I use for drilling. They're just nice to be able to pop on every now and again if there's any heat building up and just to take that heat away. So this is going to be the bottom. This is going to be the main drilling area. And I don't know whether you can pick this line up. There's a little line just there. That's where we're drilling to. That gives me the indication that I'm at the right depth. Oh, it's tourist up. I'm going to put some extraction on to take some of that dust away. So now we're actually starting to plug the hole. So what I'm going to do, once we start to get to that point and I feel resistance, I'm just going to back off. Bring that cutter back out again. Clear some of the shavings. There we are. And then back in again. And this time we're going right up to that little line. Oh no, I'm starting to get a bit of resistance. So back out again. There we are. Clearing the shavings. Push him forward. And then finish off. Up to the line. Good. Bring that back and out the way. A little bit of abrasive. I just like the sound. This is, you know, we have tidied this end up. If we can sand it now before we actually do the main turning. You had an airline close to you, get the airline up there. Make sure you're all dust masked up. $180. Have a look. Yeah, we're good. So we're, oh no, I'm not going to swap them around. Now, I do tend to do this. I do tend to forget this next bit. We're going to do that little slot for the lugs of the Crushgrind to grab. So we're using a specialist tool here. This is a recess tool. This one's made by Crown, and it does exactly this for this project. It's got that little side cutter, and I've marked it. Again, if I can just orientate so you can see, this is where I need to be for this recess, and then I'm using the front one at the top here when I do the lid. Okay, so this is the first cut. So it is literally just a side cut. There we are. Not the best noise in the world, but it's effective.
Cool. What stops? I think the Woodcut Milldrill. What stops it binding when you pull it out? Ed and A said he'd be worried it would spin in this tailstock.
Well, good grip. To be honest with you, Ed, it's not the pressure, the forward pressure of that against the hole is giving it a really good grip. I've never had that one slip at all. And again, same issues that we were talking to you about before. If it does slip a little bit, just abrade it slightly. You don't want to be sanding all of it away. You don't want to be filing it, but a little bit of abrasive, just so you can get rid of that glazed effect on the outside. But no, I've never had one slip on the retrieval. As long as it's not binding up too much when it's in there. So make sure you use the 25 or 1 inch hole to do it, and then it won't grip it.
And Wars just asked, if you don't have one of those nifty devices, would you use 3 different Forstner bits?
It's the only way. Yeah, absolutely only way. So the 3 bits, starting with the large one, because then the large one will create the center hole for your next one, and so on. Yeah, absolutely. But I've argued this several times. If you get a good sawtooth bit, the price of those, especially if you have to get 3, are far greater than the price of a mill drill. So it's just economy, and the fact that those blades on that little mill drill are just so easy to sharpen as well. They're just on the little flat diamond file. It makes life a lot easier. You can do hundreds, if not several hundred, salt and pepper grinders with that one. I've had that one now probably getting on for about 8 years. I haven't replaced the bits yet, but I've done a lot with that one. Now we're going to come in from the other side. So this is the recess, and I'm only going to go, about 6 mil, about 1/4 of an inch deep here. So coming in from the other side, and I don't need to do a little channel. All I'm going to do is the recess or the mortise. There we go. I used to go a lot deeper than that, and I just found it's unnecessary, really. that's absolutely fine for a recess, just to take the top cap. So that's the body done in terms of all the right holes and everything. So we've got the bottom area and we've got the top ready. I'm just going to now prep the lid. Yes, Tom?
Let's just want to know, what's the size of the Crushgrind you were using?
So the Crushgrind I'm using, it's not the mini, it's a 25L, but this one lengthwise. So the length of this one is this is going to be your 6-inch. So I got a 6, 9, and then I think it's a 14, this one. No, it's even longer. This one looks like the 20, so the big one's a 20. So 6, 9, and 20 I've got here. The good thing, though, with any of these, you know, that's a massive grinder. And it's going to be too big for a lot of people's kitchens. So the good thing with them, you can just cut them off at whatever length you want them, because that's a separate piece. So cut the bar off wherever you want it, and you're good to go. And to be fair, they're not that much more expensive for that size than the smaller size, because it's the same mechanism there. So I'll leave that up to you. So next, we're going to drill our hole here. Now, this is slightly different. I'm not using the Crushgrind to do any of this. All I need to do here, all I need to use on this, a couple of different size holes. First of all, I'm using a 26 mil drill bit. And the 26 mil bit is just going to take, let me grab the top of the mill. The 26 mil is going to take this diameter, because I want this sunk into the cap. The 22 mil that I'm going to do will then take the rest of this mechanism, once I also then do that little recess to take those lugs. So 22 mil. I'm going to go to a depth. Let me just check what I've got there. I want to go to a depth of about 40 mil, if it'll allow me. Yeah, just allow me to go 40 mil. Get rid of that one. Drill chuck again. I'll just turn the extractor off for the minute. Now I didn't need to go deep. I only need to go, I don't know, what's that, 4 mil, I think. Just with this first one. Let's have the speed up a little. Yes, it's a forcing a bit, but we're only going, like I say, 4 mil. Let's have a check on that depth. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to go to the final depth. This one, 22 mil. Just measure. I put a bit of tape there. I just want to make sure it's what I think it is. So we are on, yeah, he's a bit, I'm going to go a little bit shy of the tape, because it's around about 45, that tape, and I don't want to go that deep. Take that off, and we mustn't forget now we're going to do that recess, which I've already set. So let's clean up this face first. Remember, this was a rough cut a minute ago. It was a parting tool cut, so we're just going to very gently clean that up. How are we doing for questions, Tom?
No, all good at the moment, mate.
All good?
Yep.
Just a little tidy up. And then we're using our little recess tool. Just to do that side recess. I think, apart from a little bit of sanding, we're good. That'll do. And again, you know, you're going to get everything done to that position. But we've got two holes. So you've got the deep one that's going to take the actual mechanism itself. We've got the little recess to take the top of the little top section there, which we'll knock in a moment. Okay, and so that's ready to turn. So I always tend to start with the body, however. So let's do that. So body first. So I tend to go with jigs on this. It's just the easiest way. So this is a jig that I've had for absolutely years. And you can see we're working with a little taper, which is going to take the body hole. And then I've got a regular ring center in the tailstock. So let's...
All right, Colm.
Get that working.
Edinator wants to know, could you use the Simon Hope mini swan neck hollower to do the recesses for the clips?
For that little recess?
Yeah, the clips.
I don't see why not. Or the only thing, Ed, is it has to be a square shoulder for that little lug to bite into. Otherwise, if it's a rounded area, it could still pull out, if you know what I mean. So what it does, it stops when you do this. Ouch. When you do that, when you put this back together again, that pressure as you push, it just stops. You're pushing the mechanism back out the bottom. So if it was, you know, if it had any soft edges at all, it would probably push that out. So that's the only thing I'd be aware of. Okay, we're going to make it match that one as close as I can. So let's go with a set of calipers. Make sure we don't go too small in diameter if we haven't already. There we are. Done. Let's get into camera. Just measuring that. If we're just there. Basically, I can't afford to take any off of that. So we're good. Let me just clean it up, though. I don't like that finish. So I'm just going to skim the surface with a gouge and a skew style cut. There we are. And I only need to worry about that, the wide area there. Then if I offer this one up, I can look at the high area. Is there, and that's going to be where the top of that high spot is. Okay, a couple of areas to think of down here as well, those little beads. So we'll measure those and put those in. All right, let's do it on camera. And what we'll do first, if I just use the roughing gouge to get down close, then we'll go to a parting tool to get the actual diameter. There we are. I've got a small 6mm beading and parting tool here, so we'll carry on and do the rest of that diameter with that. There we are, so there's the diameter. Now I just need to check and plot in the bead widths. They're looking like 4mm, but I didn't measure anything when I made these. So once again on camera, let's just measure the beads, scribe them in. And then we've got another measurement here. We could also measure this flat fillet, this flat area here. So if I use the calipers, cut the fillet in with the parting tool. There we go. I'm not too proud to admit that I'm scraping this bead in. Here we go. And the next thing is to finish the shaping. So it's that just a nice curve, basically. So let's go with the bowl gouge. I'm going to go slightly bigger. So a little 3/8 bowl gouge. There we are. And then you do have a 1-inch hole in the middle of this. Remember that. All right, let's just have a look. Turn the lathe off. We'll have a look next to the one that we've already got done, just to see how similar we are. I think we're getting there. I think there's a little bit more to take out of here, but I think that's pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, I think just let's just do one more cut, Tom. Don't really want to go any deeper, but it's just a little bit flat in one place. That'll do. That will do. So now sand that one and make the head match. All right, dust extraction, of course. We're going to, you can sanding seal these, you can oil these, you can whatever you want. I'm tending to microcrystalline wax these, and lemon oil as well. Not on the same one. So some of mine will be microcrystalline, some of them will be lemon oiled. And the reason being that I really like the lemon oil finish. It's dead flat, so no sheen to it. The microcrystalline has a bit of sheen to it. Some timbers like sheen and that look better. Some customers like something that's dead flat. So there's just to give a little bit of variation. And I'm also thinking about how these are handled frequently. So that wear that you're going to get, if you use something that a regular wax, it's just going to wear off. So oils, microcrystalline waxes, or work really well. Yes.
Callum just asked, what shape have you found over the years of making pepper grinders? Are the ones that sell quickly?
Good point, Callum. I almost want to say shapes aren't the thing. Shapes are very personal. So the maker, I like certain shapes. These are quite voluptuous shapes, very curvaceous shapes. I prefer those, sort of edging on the traditional. But I have also seen some really, really nice sort of modern styles of shaping where they're quite angular, very Scandinavian looking. They work. I really enjoy those as well. But it's a functional piece, salt and pepper grinders just sell. They sell because they're useful items. And when you get the customers that like to ask what's it for and need a purpose in a piece that you've made, then having a function is all important, So I don't think you'll find any problems in selling salt and pepper grinders if they're priced at the right people. which is a weird one. And I've often spoken about that as where we are here in the world, and the site that I work on, as in the farm shop. You have to price at your people, the people that are going to be your clients, your customers. I'm not a gallery. I don't want to be a gallery. This is for people to buy in this environment. So, you know, we're selling these. A pair of this size are going to be up to sell at around about 60 to 70 pounds, depending on the timber. And that works. Take into account your prices of your timber, your mechanisms, all those sorts of things. And the speed that you make them in as well. That's another biggie. There we are, a little bit more to do on that yet. Really pretty timber. Just to have a bit of a plug, actually, whilst we're doing this, whilst we're doing the boring bit of sanding. If anybody's in the Yandles area, Pete Ravencroft, Pete Twisted Trees, it's your chance to shout about what you're going to be doing tomorrow, Pete, because I think you're doing a demonstration. I know you're busy prepping whilst you're watching this, but shout out about what you're going to be doing at Yandles and the times and all those things, because you know I'm terrible for all of that. So give yourself a plug, mate. That works, of course, if you're in the area and you're not in America or Australia or anywhere like that, of course.
It's probably a good time to say also, like, if everybody'd like to, who's watching, give us a thumbs up on this video as well. So we will eventually make sure the ads are taken off for this very reason. So again, apologies about that. But if you give us a thumbs up and share and like the video, that would be fantastic. And subscribe to the channel, of course, would be great.
When are we doing another one, Tom?
I think it is a couple of weeks' time, isn't it?
First week, is it the
November?
First full week in November? What's on the calendar there? Is it the 7th of November?
It's looking like the 7th, I think, November.
7th of November. Awesome. I've already decided what I want to do. We done the little reel a few weeks ago about making jewelry. Had a few questions on that one. Want to see the rest of the process, because we teased people a little bit with that one, and we showed a little bit of the process, but not how you offset. So we're going to do that on the 7th. We're going to do a little bit of resin, a little bit of timber, get some nice colors going, look at some different jaws.
Is that another one where we forgot to do something again?
No. I think we purposely, we put a carrot out.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well done, us. A couple of questions, Cole. Nolly Oak has asked, if you were making novelty pepper grinders to sell, say, like a lighthouse, what paint would you use? Would it have to be food choice safe? Any recommendations? I know Edinator's already put in a recommendation here for like some milk paints that are food safe.
Milk paints are. I know the Rust-Oleum paints are toy safe as well, and they're a solid color. It's difficult, really, when it comes to the exterior of something, because the exterior of your salt and pepper grinder is never going to come into contact with food. It's the interior, and the interior I would just give a coat of oil, let it flush it through. That takes out a little bit of dust. If you've got an airline, clean it through, get the brush up there. And I just oil the surface of it, let that dry fully, and then the exterior. It's a difficult one. I wouldn't be overly concerned about having a finish, particularly that was food safe. I think toy safe would be fine, because you think about what toy safe is. It's safe to mouth once dry, and so this is not going to be a wet surface that you're going to get in contact with food. So I think you should be okay. I'd always, any kitchen item, toy safe at least. And
Frederick Days just said, I go in, by the way, I sold my German smoker that I made with you, and the customer thought it was wonderful.
Excellent. There we are. Fantastic. So we had a couple of German smoker courses in the last couple of months. They just go down well. They're just a fun thing, aren't they? They're such a funny character to build and create. And the nice thing is, when you first light them, the first time you ever light them, To see that smoke coming out the mouth, it's awesome. Of course, we're coming into that time of year, Tom.
Yeah, brilliant.
Festive.
Lovely.
Come on, you're a farmer. You should enjoy Christmas.
Can't wait. Yeah, lots of dark evenings and yeah.
Right, let's put a little bit. Yes, you could put sanding sealer on this first, and I probably would normally. But we're going to go straight over with a little bit of microcrystalline wax. Good hard finish, good resilient finish. Look at the lovely colour that gives. I've done a couple this afternoon where I've burnt and then brushed off and then added colour, as in stain colour. I've filled a couple with liming wax as well. That looked really nice. There we are, microcrystalline wax. Follow the directions on the tin, and you need to wait 15-20 minutes and then burnish it off. I don't ever tend to do that. I'm always in too much of a rush to do that. But it's worth giving them a buff after you finish the batch with a loose leaf mop. That'll really buff that wax up. There we are. Put my lid on there just for a minute. So that's that first bit done. That's the body done. And again, you're going to be doing that on all the bodies if you're doing a batch. Let's just give you a good idea of where we are with that. Lovely bit of sapwood coming around there. So that's going to be the easy identifiable one between the salt and the pepper. We've got our two bodies. All right, it'll look even closer together once we've done the top. So let's put the body down there out of our way just for the moment. We're going to swap jigs. So I'm going to take that taper out and we're going to add another taper. Make sure it's running true.
Before we go, Cole, editor says, can you recommend a good black wax? He's struggling to find one that he can get delivered here into Ireland. Oh, on the island.
On the island. Isle of Wight.
Not Ireland.
A good black wax. So, black wax. Yorkshire black, is it? I don't know whether they can get that across to you there. It's the only one I know, if I'm honest. I mean, if you're talking waxes, I'm not sure whether Hampshire. Have a look at Hampshire Sheen and Chestnut and see if they do any embellishing waxes in black. Again, I don't know whether they can ship across the water to you. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I know your frustration, because you could almost swim across if the tides weren't quite as vicious as they are between you and the mainland. But yeah, it's just that short little bit of water stops a lot of things. Let's go for a shorter tool rest. Yeah, not sure when it comes to black waxes anyway. Let's just check the diameters again. So I'm going to check the diameter of this top of this one. Check the diameter of what I've got. Same, really, really close there. So all I'm going to do is clean the surface. There we are. And one thing I forgot to do when we drilled that main hole for this one is do the tenon. I always do the tenon first, so I'm going to have to do it now. So we're using, we need a tenon to fit inside that little recess there. So let's do it. I only want to go a couple of mil, 4 mil deep. Measuring with my calipers. We're going to go oversized to begin with, and then slowly tweak. That's tweak, not twerk. It's a whole other thing, Tom.
Let's not start that.
So yeah, get the right side. Let's get that dust extraction. Really dusty, this Soprano. Has Pete give himself a plug yet? Right, quick check. So I'm going to take that off. So it's a box fit at the moment. It's too tight. So we'll just skim that. You know, the worst thing with salt and pepper grinders, if you get that too tight, every time you use it, it screeches at you. So it needs to be loose but not sloppy. There we are. Good. Yeah, we're good. So now we're going to bring that round. Same as what we've done with this one. So it's a slightly biased high spot on this one, and then rounding over to the top. So I've eyeballed that. Small bowl gouge. Odd shape. Let's just tidy that up. If you find that your shape isn't quite right, very often it's just the tiniest little change. So don't be too aggressive when you're just refining. There we are, that would be fine. That's good. Now we should have enough purchase there. If I use a spindle gouge, I should have enough just to take away the mark left by that center. Oh, too deep. Just move that away, just in case. Don't panic, anybody. If this comes off, I'm not going to panic. You can do that with a spindle gouge. You wouldn't be able to do that with a bowl gouge. It takes too much pressure. So we can get away with it. We'll stop the lathe. We'll have a look and see what we've got so far. And we'll just offer up the other one and see how close that is. Can live with that. Pretty good. Okay. Sand away.
Cole, Jim's asked, what is the bevel angle on your spindle gouge?
45. 45, Jim. It just tends to be my go-to. 45 degrees on that one. Now, if you do come to see me at either Diss, West Suffolk, or Surrey this weekend, then I will be doing these again, amongst other things. And this will be one of the demos. So you can come up and have a good close look at what's going on. There we are. Now, before I tend to go up loads of grits, I'm just going to check to make sure there's no issues that we've got to get rid of, or any lines. It's pretty good. I'm happy-ish with that. A little bit more with the 180, just on the very end grain there. Good. 240, now we're on a 320. And 400. Little bit of microcrystalline wax. I'm just happy to spill a little bit over onto that 10, and that's just going to help with that movement as well. Good. That can come off. That can come off. We match those up. We are going to put this together. Now I'm reasonably happy with that one. I don't know whether you can see this one's slightly smaller on its top cap. So I'll have to do another pair of these, and I've got the timber down there. But when it comes to these types of things, I really enjoy making these with colorful timbers. So for instance, if I get another 2 blanks that I've got down here, I've got some Rapala lacewood, which is one of my favorites. Rapala lacewood has a real fleck to it, almost like regular lacewood. You can just make it out there. And then some really pretty walnut. And that's in those sizes. For the bigger ones, I've got a load of oak down there. I've got some olive ash. And really, I've gone with the softer materials for the bigger ones, just bearing in mind the drilling. You know, we're going in a lot further with the drilling on these bigger ones. And those harder materials, those harder timbers tend to really make your lathe, the tailstock, struggle a little bit, and the sawtooth bits. You will find you'll need to replace those sawtooth bits fairly regularly, but I sharpen them as well. So diamond file, I've got a small hand tool there, a little rotary tool, which you can get metal sort of filing bits to use, just to keep them nice and sharp. You don't want to start creating smoke or lots of smoke and too much heat, because if you do that, of course, you've got a great tinderbox at your feet that you can cause real issues with. Now, Tom, I just want to get we're going to put these together because we haven't shown that. So let me get my jigs up on the bed of the lathe. Which do you think is the best camera? That one. Perfect. Yeah, number 2. So I've got a couple of jigs here. They're just assembly jigs, really. So what I've got, this one here is nice and soft. It takes the top cap to assemble that top section. And then if I turn it over, I can then use that whilst I push in the main mechanism, and it's got a hole running through it so the actual spindle can pass through. And then this little piece here is just a little drive that I can tap it in with. It actually goes into there, you see, so when we assemble that way. So let's do all that. So we'll do the top cap first. Okay, and our little cap. Remember, we've got the little recess in there to take the lugs of this cap. So we're just going to pop that in there. Little couple of taps from the mallet. Oh, harder than that. And what I like about this is because we've done that larger hole to start with, it's created a nice flush top to that cap. That's clipped in to the recess that we made as well. So that one's done. If we turn that over, flip that over, pop that down through there, bring in our little tenon, go over, because what we don't want to be doing is knocking on this area. This is the ceramic part of the mechanism. If I show you there, you can see the ceramic cap. If you tap on ceramic, of course, it's going to damage it. So these surfaces here just touch this and protect that ceramic. So couple of taps, just be a little bit soft to start with, because what we want to make sure is that this pin doesn't foul on this top section. There we are, fully down. So that's all the way through. Now, my only concern here is that I've gone, hopefully I haven't gone too long or too short in the hole. Oh, there we are. So I am a little bit too short. So what I need to do on here is just nip off the top of that one. Because look, I'm just a little bit short. It's a little bit too long there. So it's just fouling on the top of that hole. I can't afford to take any more out of this this top cap purely because it will come through otherwise. So just about 4 mil off the top of there, and that will do it. I can remember doing that to the other one, so it's only right that has to be done to the second one. There we are. Let's get them in shot. Nice little pair of Sobrano salt and pepper grinders. Any more questions, Tom?
No, mate. I think that's it.
All right. If you do need to shorten those aluminium centers, just literally just a little hacksaw. I've been doing quite a few today, and they cut really, really easily. And then I just tend to file them nice and clean, so there's no sharp edges. They tend to get covered anyway, but they will be exposed when you take them off to refill the actual salt and pepper grinder. So make sure they're nice and soft. And it literally just a little spin like this on a sharpening system, or a sanding disc, or anything like that. I'll calm that down. But there, grand. We're done. We're done. There's another salt and pepper grinder done. So if you are going to this Suffolk or Surrey this weekend, I'll see you there. If not, I'll see you on the 7th, where we're going to be making some offset jewellery. So from myself and Tom, thank you very much for turning up this evening, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.